Good day everyone, this is Edmar D Mondarez taking up Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation, currently studying at Palawan Polytechnic College Incorporated, first year student. Today's video, we're going to discuss how data processing works. But before that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more updates. Before we proceed to data processing, let us first determine what is a data. So a data is a collection of independent and organized facts such as numbers, words, measurements, observations, or just description of things. Data can be categorized in this way: alphanumeric data, the image data, the audio data, and video data. Data on its own has very little meaning or value. However, when data is arranged in a meaningful manner, it goes into an information. So what is information? An information is a collection of facts organized and processed so that they have additional value beyond the value of individual facts. The process of converting data into information is known as the data processing. So what is data processing? Data processing is the collection and manipulation of items of data to produce meaningful information. It is a course of doing things in a sequence of steps. Data processing usually involves four basic activities: the input, the process, the store, and output. So let us discuss first what is an input. Input is a process in which data collected is transformed into a form that the computer can understand. It is a very important step because the correct output result depends completely on the input data. Here are some devices used to provide input: the keyboard, mouse, microphone, webcam, touchpad, and scanner. Here are some activities carried out in data input. First, the data collection, then data encoding, third, the data transmission, and lastly, the data communication. So, what is the data collection? Data collection is the process of gathering and measuring information from the environment and preparing it for the input process. Then, data encoding. Data encoding is the process of converting raw facts into a form that is easier to put into a data processing system. Third is the data transmission. Data transmission is the process of sending digital or analog data over a communication medium to one or more computing, network, communication, or electronic devices. It enables the transfer of communication of device in point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, and multipoint-to-multipoint environment. Data transmission is also known as digital transmission or digital communication. And lastly, the data communication. Data communication refers to exchange of data between source and the receiver via form of transmission media such as wire cable. Data communication is said to be local if communicating devices are in the same building or similarly restricted graphically area. Let's move on to the process. A process is a running program with which particular set of data is associated so that the process can be kept track of it. It is also an application that is being shared by multiple users by generally have one process at the same stage of execution for each user. A process can initiate a sub-process which is called a child process, and the initiating process is sometimes referred to as its parent. So a child process is a replica of the parent process and shared some of its resources but cannot exist if the parent is terminated. They are important because they describe how things are done and then provides the focus on making them better, and how they are done determines how successful the outcome will be. If you focus on the right processes in the right way, you can design your way to success. Processing can range from relatively small and simply to very large and complex. Third is the output. Output processing in IPOS or input process, output and storage sends information to a display screen, a printer, a plotter, a speaker, or some other medium that human senses can interpret. However, the output stage could store the data in a new format to transform the processed data into an input to another IPOS model as well. For most users, output means either a display of a monitor screen or a printed document or graphic. Output can also mean data, information, or coding. Activities carried out in output are decoding, communication, and retrieval. First is the decoding. Decoding is the process of translating print into speech by rapidly matching a letter or combination of letters to their sounds and recognizing the patterns that make syllables and words. Second is the communication. Communication is the exchange of information between two or more things, such as people, devices, governments, organizations, or businesses. In digital communication, data is exchanged between two or more computing devices. This communication occurs over communication medium such as telephone line, fiber optic cable, or wireless radio signal. The collection of digital device and the other connection media is a computer network. Last is the retrieval. Data retrieval is the process of identifying and extracting data from a database. Based on a query provided by the user of application, it enables the fetching of data from database in order to display it on a monitor and or use within an application. So moving on to the store or storage. The storage stage of IPOS can occur directly from or to the processing or the output stages. The storage stage can serve as the pseudo-input or pseudo-output stage of the processing stage. The processing stage may need to store data for later user or recall previously stored data for processing new data from the input stage. The output stage may store processed data as information for display by another IPOS model when needed. The storage stage does not only store data or information on a fixed storage medium, such as a hard disk, but can also store data and information on removable media, such as a flash drive, CD-ROM, or DVD. Data processing is the collection and manipulation of items of data to produce meaningful information. It is a course of doing things in a sequence of steps. Data processing usually involves four basic activities: the input, the process, the store, and output. Input is a process in which data collected is transformed into a form that the computer can understand. It is a very important step because the correct output result depends completely on the input data. Activities carried out in data input. First, the data collection, then data encoding, third, the data transmission, and lastly, the data communication. Let's move on to the process. A process is a running program with which particular set of data is associated so that the process can be kept track of it. Third is the output. Output processing in IPOS or input process, output and storage sends information to a display screen, a printer, a plotter, a speaker, or some other medium that human senses can interpret. Activities carried out in output are decoding, communication, and retrieval. Moving on to the store or storage. The storage stage of IPOS can occur directly from or to the processing or the output stages. The storage stage can serve as the pseudo-input or pseudo-output stage of the processing stage. That's all everyone. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy my video and you learned something about it. If you have comments, suggestions, or recommendations, just comment down below. Thank you!